A specter is haunting America. The specter of socialism, corruption, and the deep state. America is divided. Capitalism or socialism? Free markets or state control? Innovation and wealth creation or stagnation and poverty? They have a dream, a socialist dream, where we are strangers in our own land. In 2018, I began to work on my new book, United States of Socialism. I saw socialism threatening to take over America for the first time in our history. Socialism allied with the police agencies of the government, the so-called deep state. I experienced it firsthand. Hello?
Is this Mr. Dinesh D'Souza?
Yes, it is.
Please hold for the President of the United States.
Hey, Dinesh, I'm calling about your case. I gotta tell you, I knew it was complete bullshit.
Dinesh D'Souza was indicted on federal charges of violating campaign finance laws.
Conservative filmmaker and author Dinesh D'Souza is the latest victim to be targeted by the Obama White House, and he's also the man behind the anti-Obama documentary 2016.
All rise. It is my judgment that he be locked up overnight for 8 months in a community confinement center. 5 years probation. Mr. D'Souza is required to do community service every week for 8 hours for 5 years. And he is to participate in weekly therapeutic counseling. We are adjourned.
Well, I'm in the position to fix it, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm giving you a pardon in the morning.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. Thank you.
I want you to have your life back. You've been a great voice for freedom in America. Now just go out there and be an even bigger voice.
I will. Thank you, Mr. President. President Trump reminded me of why I first came to America.
And I also recognize that in America, there was such a thing as an American dream. India doesn't have a dream. No other country has a dream. But this American dream is a dream not just of economic opportunity or success, but it's ultimately a dream where you can be the architect of your own destiny. America is a country where you can be in the driver's seat of your own life, in which your destiny is not given to you, it is constructed by you.
I see a movement that threatens the very reason I came to this country. It threatens everyone's American dream.
The DSA is the Democratic Socialists of America. Socialism. It's starting to get more popular in America.
We are unstoppable! Another world is possible!
We have to say yes to socialism, to the word and everything. This is clearly the future.
Democratic socialism.
What's the difference?
We got an early glimpse of what this socialist dream looks like during the coronavirus shutdown.
We as a church were in danger if we met.
I'm just preaching the word of God, and look at all these police cars here.
We will shut you down, we will cite you, and if we need to, we will arrest you.
A Tampa Bay pastor has been arrested for violating coronavirus social distancing rules.
Public health and safety groups are turning to drones to monitor public spaces and enforce social distancing rules.
And I'm starting to feel like I'm in a communist country.
There are powerful people in politics, in the media, and in Hollywood who want America to become the United States of socialism. And if you disagree, they'll beat you into submission.
My hands are being put in handcuffs. My ankles are shacked.
In a period of 18 months, I went through 23 different audits or investigations.
FBI, open the door! 29 FBI agents with assault weapons and hand grenades and a battering ram to smash in my front door.
They even tried to overturn the 2016 election. A deep state cabal involving the FBI, the Justice Department, and the Obama White House set its sights on former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn until their plot was exposed.
So do you think this goes all the way up to the top to President Obama?
Absolutely.
Is this true? No president has ever tried to frame and entrap his successor. There are millions of Americans standing in the way of socialism and the deep state. And they have a trump card.
America will never be a socialist country.
He's a fighter with a peculiar talent for tagging his opponents.
Sleepy Joe, Mini Mike, Crooked Hillary, Crazy Bernie, Crying Chuck, with Shifty Shift, Nervous Nancy. I think you should let me run the country. It's a lot easier to act presidential than to do what I do. Anybody can act president.
He understands that what's at stake is the American dream itself.
We are Americans. We are pioneers. We are the pathfinders. We settled the new world. We built the modern world. And we change history forever by embracing the eternal truth that everyone is made equal by the hand of Almighty God.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of rain, for purple mountain majesties.
We are in a cold civil war, one that reminds us of the crisis that Abraham Lincoln faced. In 1861, the founder of the Republican Party, Abraham Lincoln, boarded a train in Springfield, Illinois, making multiple stops on his way to Washington, D.C. Historians say that Lincoln, the president-elect, wanted to let the American people check him out. I think he was checking them out. He was trying to find out if they were ready for the tough days ahead.
A house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure permanently half slave and half free.
Today, America is also divided. One party wants to keep the founding principles. The other party wants to move in a socialist direction. Which path is better? In the 19th century, America went from being a poor agricultural society to being the leader of the Industrial Revolution and the richest country in the world. Lincoln wanted to protect the America that was founded on free market principles, property rights, contracts, and trade. He credited America's success to the political architecture of the founding. Of the patent laws, he said,
they added the fuel of interest to the fire of genius in the discovery and production of new and useful things.
While the American Revolution was the most successful revolution ever made, the Soviet Revolution, the revolution that brought socialism into the world, was disastrous. The death toll of socialism is almost unimaginable. Over 100 million casualties. Half of humanity bore Marx's imprint. I remember socialism from my childhood. The monthly ration card needed to buy rice and cooking oil. My family was on a 7-year waiting list just to get a phone. Socialism deprived 3 generations of people around the world of their birthright. And then another Republican president changed all of that.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Ronald Reagan led America and the world in defeating socialist totalitarianism. Eastern Europe revolted. The USSR was forced to give up its political ideology, communism, and its economic ideology, socialism. Russia still has major problems, but it's better off. India, too, is doing better.
India has had a kind of an evolution away from socialism. And some of you remember, your parents probably told you when you were younger, listen, Johnny, you better eat your food because there are millions of starving people in India. Now, interestingly, you probably don't say that to your kids. In fact, what you probably say to your kids is something more like this. Johnny, you better study really hard because there are millions of Indians waiting to take your job.
China is also doing better.
China has done a better job in wiping out desperate levels of poverty over, a 30, 40-year period than any country in history.
What the socialist Bernie Sanders forgets to add is that China did this by getting rid of socialism. But China held on to its communist political system. Its one-party state controls the lives of 1 billion people. This is also the regime that unleashed the coronavirus pandemic.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus?
It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China.
In response to Chinese tyranny, the people of Hong Kong are singing a different tune.
Socialism is the most discredited idea in the world after slavery. We don't have a major party, certainly not in the United States, that says, the thing about slavery, guys, is it was a really good idea. The implementation was always poor. This time, we're going to do slavery right. Nobody says that. You can't say that. You would be immediately carried out in a straitjacket. But with socialism, people do say that.
Socialists appear to be a little silly. Check out Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
It's funny you asked this because I was just reading today about how Milton Keynes, a famous economist back...
There's economist Milton Friedman, there's economist John Maynard Keynes, but there's no Milton Keynes. She can't even get the guy's name right.
Is anyone else on the stage concerned about having a Democratic Socialist at the top of the Democratic ticket?
Even so, we have to take socialism seriously. Socialism is no longer on the fringe.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
It has now captured the leadership of the Democratic Party and entered the political and cultural mainstream. First, they insist that capitalism may be efficient, but it's profoundly unjust.
There's plenty of money in this world. There's plenty of money in this country. It's just in the wrong hands.
The old capitalism is gone. The new capitalism is a cruel and evil system.
That ideology is not sustainable and cannot be redeemed.
We have a grotesque and immoral distribution of wealth and income.
Second, who says that socialism doesn't work? It works right now in Scandinavia and all across Europe. The American left wants the successful socialism of Scandinavia, not the failed socialism of Venezuela.
I think we should look to countries like Denmark, like Sweden, and Norway.
Third, the left today advocates identity socialism, a marriage between classic socialism and identity politics.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Our country should be more fearful of white man.
But the thing of it is, the blue wave is African American. Yeah! It's white, it's Latino, it's Asian Pacific Islander. Yes! It is disabled. It is differently abled. Yes! It is LGBTQ. Yes! It is made up of those who've been told that they are not worthy of being here. Yes! It is comprised of those who are documented and undocumented. Yes!
For Marx, socialism was about class division. But for Democrats today, the division in society isn't just between the capitalists and the workers. It's also about whites versus blacks, males versus females, straight versus gay, legal versus illegal. Fourth, the left rejects the authoritarian socialism of Lenin, Stalin, and Mao. It prefers democratic socialism. They want the same democracy that we have in the political arena to extend to the economic arena.
Socialism is everybody has a seat at the table and everybody gets a slice of the pie.
Emphasis in democratic socialism is on democracy.
We need to make the moral case for capitalism and show that its rewards are just. We need to expose the Scandinavian illusion. We must discredit identity socialism on its own terms. We need to show that socialism, even democratic socialism, inevitably leads to misery and tyranny. More than anything else, what defines the socialist left is the promise of free stuff.
Free.
They should be free.
They will receive $500 a month.
$1,000 a month.
Child care for all working families.
Cancel student loan debt.
Free college.
Tuition free.
Medicare for all.
Any doctor they want, any hospital they want.
When the socialists say free, what they mean is someone else is going to pay. The left justifies robbing Peter to pay Paul with the concept of majority rule. But the very idea that a majority, even a democratic majority, can seize our money is unjust. Should 51% of Americans have the right to take away your possessions? Whether it's a socialist dictator or a socialist majority that takes your stuff, either way, you're being robbed. And then we have the Green New Deal.